We'll leave the light on for you. That's what he said. And his name was Tom Bodette. He was kind of a radio performer, and he was doing an ad for a hotel-motel chain. And that was the closing line of his commercial. We'll leave the light on for you. And that became kind of a comforting line. It's very important. Somebody will leave the light on for you. And perhaps that's a good way to introduce ourselves and perhaps to a new way of looking at that man or the woman who was the keeper of the hotel, the keeper of the motel inn on that Christmas night. Let's talk about that on The Creator Entrepreneur as we look at new ideas and see if they influence us and impact us and perhaps bring some good things into our life. The program begins right now.
This child that you delivered will soon deliver you.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy will give sight to a blind man? Mary, did you know that your baby boy will calm the storm with his hand? Did you know?
And again, we thank you as we go into, number 3. We've talked about Mary, the entrepreneur, and yesterday, John, the baptizer entrepreneur, and how he helped Jesus begin his ministry and was certainly a part of the whole project, the entrepreneurial project of bringing salvation to planet Earth, for which we're grateful. But there's another character, and isn't it ironic that his heroism really made a lot of this possible, but who was he? Or who was she? We don't know. There's no name, no attachment. We have no idea, except for some reason, somebody, somewhere in the town of Bethlehem, at a little hostel, at least tried to fix it and make it work. And we're going to talk about him, talk about her. We'll just say they were heroic. And in a way, they were entrepreneurial. And I'd like to kind of demonstrate that to you today. Well, of course, you all know the story. After this long journey, and it was probably, keep in mind that story, picture that shows that there is Joseph and there is Mary riding on a donkey making their way to Bethlehem. Well, we don't know that it was a donkey. We don't even know if Joseph could afford a donkey. Maybe with his soon-to-be expectant wife, maybe she was walking. We don't know. They were poor folks. They didn't have much. And they had to do what the government asked them to do. It was kind of a little bit of a lockdown. Everybody go to your hometown so we know where you are and who you are. And then we're going to sign you up so you can pay taxes. And that's what they had to do, and that's what they did. Well, obviously, they're going to be slower. Obviously, they may be the last one to make it into town because they just can't go very fast. And they arrive in Bethlehem, and of course, what happens? They start, and you've all gone through this. Of course, I've gone through this. You start looking for a place to stay for the night. Now, interestingly enough, the ad for that motel hotel chain was called Motel 6. They're still around today, and if you're like me and the age and stage I am, you actually know that at one time, for $6, you could find a place to stay. Now, it wasn't fancy. In fact, I still occasionally stop in at a Motel 6 because if I'm driving 15, 16, 17 hours a day and I'm going to get up early the next morning to keep on my road, I'm just looking for a place that has a warm shower and a clean bed and doesn't need all of those other things. I look for a Motel 6 and jump in and pay the economical price. I'm up and gone the next day. Well, we'll leave the light on for you. And I do remember one time that that was literally the case. I Motel 1, nope. Motel 2, nope. Motel number 3. Well, I didn't make it to 6, but I finally found a motel, and the light was still on, and it was late, and I went in, and the man looked, and he said, I think I'm booked fully for the night, but let me check. And then he checked around and said, oh, yes. It's not our best room by far, but it's way down there, and it's only a single bed. You're welcome to it. And I said, thank you very much. And I was taken care of, and I had a safe place to sleep that night, and actually a nice warm shower so I could be on my way. We've all had those kinds of experiences. But of course, Mary and Joseph, they arrive, and there's no room. Everybody's in town for the census, and of course, like normal human beings, we're meeting people we've never met before, and I'm sure a good deal of partying was going on sometimes as people were trying to make the best of a difficult situation. Somehow, this man, this woman, took an extra step. And even though it wasn't a room, and it certainly wasn't the best room, he said, well, you know what? You can go to the stable. It's at least a place to stay, and it's reasonably warm. There's animals all around. Any of you know, if you've had any growing up experience on a farm, that when you go into the barn, even in a cold, cool evening or even a cold winter night, that having the animals all around and the body heat of the animals allows a certain amount of warmth to be there. And so, hopefully it's shelter. It's a place to stay. It's a place where they can at least sleep in the hay and perhaps find a way for, if the baby comes, we can handle it here and there. That was the story. I want to salute that person who found a way, just like God found a way. That's what he said to Mary. We'll find a way, even though you're young and a virgin. He said to Elizabeth, who was barren, we'll find a way. What an entrepreneur does is try to imitate the ways of God, and in the midst of difficulty and almost impossibility, you try to find a way. A number of years ago, well, it wasn't that many years ago, but I'm getting older. I went to Brazil to speak and work with one of my friends, and he was a true pastor entrepreneur. Now, I mean that in the sense he had 2 or 3 churches, but no church was supporting it, no denomination, and he was making it happen himself, and he had another job besides the 3 churches he was pastoring. He was involved in radio and television, a talented man, and he would do radio and TV programs, and if a good business was around, they might ask him to do a commercial for him. He was truly an entrepreneur. But he lived on the edge. A lot of the money he made, he gave away to people. That's who Leandro was. Well, we were going on a trip in his rather raggedy old car that he kept going, and the door was not staying shut. And so he pulled in, he said, I know a guy. And so he went to another entrepreneur, a guy who didn't have all of the hotshot facilities of a modern automobile dealership, but he was finding a way. He drove it in, and the guy came to him and looked at it, and he said something, obviously in Portuguese, which I did not understand. And Leandro came back, and I said, well, I said, well, can he fix it? And then he smiled and said, what he said was something like this: we can't fix it, but we can make it work. What a wonderful line. We can't fix it, but we can make it work. And so what he did was just that. He found a way that we could get the door to stay closed so we could make our trip, and we could make it happen. The door wasn't fixed, but he made it work. God does a lot of that. Some of the things he doesn't fix. Some of the scars and tragedies and some of the missed opportunities, they stay with us. But through all of this, he can make life work for us. And you know what? That's what the motel guy did. That's what the inn guy did. He had that kind of entrepreneurial attitude. You know, you need a room. I can't fix it. I can't fix your situation. I can't find a place for you. But let's see if we can find something and make it work. I love that spirit. That is truly the creator-entrepreneur spirit. And oftentimes in finding a way to make it work, sometimes we'll actually discover ways to fix or repair it, or even to innovate and come up with something better, something brand new, something that works very well. And not only works well, is something that fixes and repairs and renews. Well, there we go. So on this 23rd of December, as we're getting ready for Christmas Eve Day and Christmas, I just want you to be encouraged. Your little role here on planet Earth might be very simple. Just as the man or woman in Bethlehem that night, in the midst of the busyness, did something he or she really didn't have to do. But through the kindness and the spirit and the entrepreneurialness of their own spirit, they may not have even viewed themselves as such. They found a way to make it work. There's one more lesson that I think is vital, and if you'll give me just a few minutes more, we'll do that. I'm Stan Houston. The program is The Creator Entrepreneur, trying to bring to you new ideas, ways to influence others and be influenced by good things, and to make an impact, just as our Innkeeper did, and to have good things come into our lives.
Day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, 3 things I pray. To see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day.
Here we go. I've oftentimes said, even based on that story, and somewhat as one of my mentors explained, one of the perhaps lessons of the book of 3 John, which was very short and very simple, and sometimes you wonder, why did God include it? It was the gift of hospitality. You know, he practiced hospitality. And one of the things I'm encouraging every entrepreneur in every business to do, in fact, I just mentioned it the other day, you ought to appoint her as your CHO. So what's that? I said, she's your Chief Hospitality Officer. She is so good with customers and clients and colleagues. She's in charge of your hospitality. Hospitality is something that God honors and God wants. God wants you to help people find a home, find a place, find room, find a light in the inn. Hospitality. And every business should have in mind, how can we make people welcome? How can we have an experience of hospitality to all that we meet and all that we greet and all that we bring in? Every organization, every business should have somewhere in their heart, mind, and spirit, and in their experience, CHO, a Chief Hospitality Officer, and that's for all of us. All of us are to welcome people to our place, to our space, and assure them that ever they are in trouble, if they're in the dark, indeed, we'll leave a light on for you. I'm Stan. Let me sign off. Thank you for listening to I just tell stories. That's what I am. I'm a storyteller. I'm a coach. I'm a business performance coach. I'm a long-time radio and television broadcaster, and in many ways I can help you and your business right through the COVID crisis and beyond. There will be a beyond. We will come out of the darkness, and we will come into the light. We've done it before, and we'll do it again, and God is still there, leading and guiding, trusting, rescuing, and saving us. And He will do it again. I promise you. Please reach out to me. I believe I can help you in some way. If not, I'll find someone who can. And together we can make 2021 a good, maybe a great, and certainly a blessed year. We'll see the light. StanHouston@gmail.com. StanHouston@gmail.com. Sometime, give me a call, 520-664-7002, USA, and we'll get back to you. It may be after the holidays, it may be certainly after Christmas, but we promise you, we'll get in touch. We'll be back. We'll try and be a little bit of a help in the night and kind of have a little bit of light with us and for us to share with you. Bye for now.